setback last time out. I know not fun, but I mean, at this point in your career, there's still lessons you take out of every matchup, or have you just been around long enough, it's just move past it?
I hate losing. Talking to the guys in the other room over here, I'm here to win, so putting in the hard training camps and going through the adversity there with my teammates and stuff, it makes training camps a little bit easier, if you will, because, you want to get your hand raised on fight night. So here we are in shape, going to make weight, going to try to beat the shit out of Max.
I mean, do you make changes based off fight results? I mean, at this point, are you still like tweaking and adjusting approaches, or how does it work at this point?
Yeah, you can never be too good at a technique, so you got to constantly practice stuff, even that we're good at, So watch fights that you win, find holes. You watch fights you lose, find holes. I think the bigger difference for this fight is going into the last fight, there was injuries and things going on that I had to get healed up and get fixed. I had to have a surgery, So this time around, I just feel like a different guy right now. Recovery's better, timing's better, things are just better. So, no disrespect to Holland or nothing like that. He's a hell of a fighter, hell of a guy. I just feel better coming into this fight Saturday night and look to get back to winning ways.
Is it a situation where maybe you shouldn't have been competing last time out? Or, I mean, I don't want to try to set up an excuse for you or anything like that, but do you feel like in hindsight it was a mistake?
Oh, hell, you don't learn unless you make mistakes. But it's just one of them things, I got an injury, kind of towards the end going into the fight, and I'm not a guy that pulls out of things, so it's not something I would change. I was still gone through with it. I felt comfortable enough going into that fight, healthy enough going into that fight. It's just something that happens, and we dealt with it.
What are your thoughts on Max as an opponent? I mean, are you somebody that watches a lot of tape, or were you just familiar with his body of work? I mean, he's been around a little while, too.
Yeah, I remember Max when he debuted against, I think it was Covington. I think I was supposed to fight Brandon Strickland that night, or his name Brandon Strickland? Strickland. He got hurt. I wound up fighting a guy named Sabaha Masi. It was right after I went through the supplement crap, so I got to know Max pretty well, seen him fight quite a bit. Watched some tape, went back and watched some of his most recent stuff. He's a durable guy with a lot of heart and gets in your face and fights you. So I'm excited to fight Max and make it a violent fight.
We saw him earlier today. He actually shared the debut story. He said that like you gave him some advice about dealing with autograph hounds and how to personalize. Do you remember that exchange?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember all that stuff. Yeah. Max is a good guy, and like we're talking in the other room. This whole career has just been about taking my time and remembering memories, man. And Max is one of those guys that I remember hanging out and cutting weight with him and being there. And a lot of these guys I know personally, and it's strictly just business. I don't think I fought a guy in a long time that I disliked or whatever. But once the cage door shuts, you have to find a reason not to like the guy across from you. So respect, but let's get violent.
I was just saying, so what do you do, right? Like, no, like it's one thing to be like, I don't hate the guy, but it's another thing to be like, I actually like this guy. You know what I mean? Like, Is there any kind of weird like mental switch you have to make, or does it make it more challenging to go in there and punch him in the face?
Hell, man. Thanksgivings lately have been pretty calm, but hell, you have family members at the Thanksgiving table you don't like. Sometimes you got to throw some shit at them, you know what I mean? When someone's mad when shoes start flying, so I haven't had to throw a shoe at anybody in a while. So I'm just here to compete, man, do the best I can on winning. And like we're talking again in the other room or whatever with my wrestling team in Moriarty, I went back to my hometown where I was a shit stick and rebuilt bridges and fixed things. I'm a head coach out there now, so life has done a crazy turnaround, and I'm just proud and want to be a good dad, be a good person on those forefronts, and just ultimately just use that stage or use this level here just to talk and communicate and figure out how to get along.
Has that become like the most important thing to you, I guess, is being like an inspiration to others versus necessarily like chasing gold or worrying about rankings or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know if inspiration's the right word, but you've got a lot of talent in our community. We come from a poor community there in Moriarty or in New Mexico. And look, man, I could have chose to live anywhere I wanted to live, with the opportunities I've been given here, stuff like that. And I chose to stay home and chose to, not throw shit at the cops and run from them and try to be a different light, you know what I mean? But I realized at that time, man, if I wasn't part of the solution, I was definitely part of the problem. And I wanted my kids to see that just because you have adversity and don't get along with people doesn't mean it has to stay like that. And a lot of the reasons we make problems is, we're our own worst enemy in a lot of ways. So as long as I can talk to kids and mingle and, talk to parents, and hell, there's parents I don't get along with, there's just a way to communicate it, not hit them with a shoe, I guess. But I think we've lost sight as a community, and I think we've lost sight as a generation in general on being able to communicate with one another and talk it out. And hell, let's get back to writing some poetry or whatever. But I can't write for shit, so. I just want to lead by a different example and show my kids that hard work does pay off.
Tim, he's a poetry man. I mean, who would have thought that?
I don't know about all that, man. I'm trying to read more in my old age, but might need some glasses.
Last thing for me, I guess. I mean, on paper, I think every fight you're in looks like it's going to be a fight of the night, but this one particularly does. I mean, is that what you're expecting? Is that the mindset you bring into this? Man, when I sign that contract, I get in the best shape I can possibly be in, and I show up and fight, and I let the chips fall where they fall, So I get a lot of respect from the guys on the roster and from fans in general. I might not be one of these crazy popular guys, but I don't want to be George Clooney famous. So when you see my name on the roster, you'll be going through it or whatever, or see my name on a lineup, you're going to stop on that fight and look at the guy across from me. And, we paid attention to these things, and contract deals that we've done or whatever, when you're able to look at that slot on the TV deal, on the spikes in views, those numbers jump way up. So I might not be super famous, but people know I can fight, know I show up.
When you talk about community and wanting to give back and giving that lasting legacy, was that something you always wanted to do? Or was that something later on in your career where you were like, I need to change something, or I need to go back? Was that something that you found later on in your career?
Yeah, man, I'm just a white trash kid from the sticks, And I think I didn't start thinking like that till I had a daughter to feed, and they slowed me way down and showed me that it's worth being around, and it's worth staying out of handcuffs, and it's worth the struggle. Watching my kids grow and being able to water those flowers, and we don't get along all the time. I dislike them more than I like them most of the time. But I love my kids, and I want to show them that, like we're talking, hard work pays off, and my kids got tremendous work ethic. And I want to be there to support that and be around for that. My daughter Lily's a chip off the old block. She thinks just like I did when I was younger. When we get pissed, we react before we think. So I'm trying to show her that, hell, I've done a lot of thinking lately, and things have paid off when I think before I react.
That's awesome. And when you're giving back to the community, I think you said you were coaching and helping out. That first time when you went back, back to the community and want to give back, after being what would you call yourself, a shit stick?
Yeah.
What did the people, did they immediately embrace it, or were they like, Tim, come on, bro, we know how you are? I mean, what was that initial reaction from them when you first wanted to start to try to reach out to them?
Yeah, there was no open arms. I think I was looking exactly that, like, yeah, right, he said this before, or, yeah, right. So it took me 8 years to even get a judge to take me serious just to get back in my daughter's lives. Now I have custody of my daughter, sole custody of my kids. Calling home on a Thanksgiving from a jail cell to talk to my nephew, and him realizing where I was at really just set the tone for me. And I get people talking, when I talk about prison or whatever, say I went to county jail. No, I had a judge that sent me to prison on 2 misdemeanors. I had 2 days shy of 2 years, and I got to go to the Department of Corrections. My prison number is 66689. So it wasn't no county jail or nothing. I got to go, learn or go see the life that I was living and see where I didn't want to be. And, it's a humbling deal when you're not able to go to bed when you want, not able to get in the refrigerator, or get orange juice or whatever when you want. And, just having a shower with other naked people is a little awkward, but, I didn't have responsibility. I didn't have clarity. I didn't have nothing that I cared about at those times. And whenever my daughter was born, my first daughter, it changed everything about my thinking. And, I'm not perfect. I still do things wrong. I still have a temper and still try to figure it out. But I do communicate with my family a whole lot better.
I know a lot of fighters out there, use this platform and they want to give good. And there's other fighters that just care about getting the gold, and it's all about that. But would you say you're most proud about being able to be there for your daughter and be there for your community? Is that what you're most proud of, to be there and be a voice of reason and something that she can look up to?
Yeah, I'm proud of the turnaround. I'm proud that I'm still with the same team that I started with when I was 17, and I'll be 39 in February. I don't jump ship. I don't point fingers and blame people when I mess up. Like I said, I've learned to communicate a whole lot better. And, you know, it's just an outstanding thing that, you know, I can choose to go to work or I can choose to go watch my kids play volleyball. I can choose to be there for the football team and work the chain gang just as any normal person, you know, and not have to worry about. Sometimes it's really hard to go in grocery stores there and get groceries or whatever. It turns into a 2-3 hour thing just mingling and talking to people. You know, anything good happened with the COVID deal, we can do the whole DoorDash where they bring the groceries to your door. So thank you, COVID, for that. But standing here differently, like where I'm at today, and, you know, like I was telling the other guys in the other room, we have old posters up on the walls at the gym, and my young face is in the background of all those photos. And if I could just go back and beat the shit out of me real quick and then jump back to where we're at right now, it would be a whole lot better. But I've learned a lot from my mistakes, and I learned a lot from where I went, and I learned a lot from the things I did wrong, and try to better it and try to move forward. But I'm a man today, and I was a boy who thought he was a man 10 years ago. So things are better.
You know, it's kind of funny. A lot of people say, you know, I wish I could have went back in time. I'd say this to myself, but for you, if you went back in time, it'd be better just to hit some sense into you, as opposed to.
I would have ran myself over with a car and then got out and beat the shit out of me. Bottom line. So.
That's all. Well, we're glad that you're here.
Thank you.